A catastrophic winter storm is barreling toward your home right now. And if you think it has already started, you are dead wrong. The worst is yet to come. In the next 25 minutes, I will tell you exactly when this monster storm will hit your city, how much ice and snow you will get, and the one critical mistake that could leave you without power for a week. But first, the shocking truth nobody is talking about. This is not one storm. This is two separate waves of winter fury. And the second wave is 3 times more dangerous than the first. Right now, as you watch this, round 2 is already forming over Texas, and it is packing freezing rain totals that meteorologists are calling life-threatening. Here is your first reward for watching. If you live anywhere from Texas to Maine, I will give you the exact hour your storm begins. Not tomorrow, not this weekend. The precise moment, and I will tell you whether you are getting snow, sleet, or the most dangerous ice storm in a decade. Drop a comment right now telling me where you live. I will personally reply with your forecast. Do it now before we dive deeper. So what is happening right now? Let me show you the current radar, and you will immediately see why there is so much confusion. Look at this. You see all that blue over Virginia and North Carolina? Most of that is not even hitting the ground yet. The atmosphere is still bone dry. This moisture is evaporating before it reaches you. This is called virga, and it is fooling a lot of people into thinking the storm is a bust. But look closer. See that area near Waco, Texas? You just saw a lightning bolt. Yes, lightning. In a winter storm, this second round is so powerful, it is producing thunder snow, thunder sleet, and thunder ice. I have been forecasting weather for years, and I can count on one hand how many times I have seen this. Now here is the critical timeline everyone is getting wrong. The first round started this morning in some areas. Light snow, maybe some sleet. Then it stopped. People thought it was over. They relaxed. Big mistake. That was just the warm-up. The main event begins tonight, and it does not end until tomorrow afternoon for most of you. Let me break down the exact timing for over 70 cities. Pay close attention because your safety depends on this. Starting in the southern plains, Oklahoma City, you have been seeing light snow all day. You probably got 2 to 4 inches already, but here is what nobody told you. Another 6 to 12 inches is coming tonight. The heavy snow begins at 9 p.m. tonight and continues until 8 a.m. tomorrow. That is 11 straight hours of heavy snowfall. Your peak intensity hits between midnight and 4 a.m. If you need to go anywhere, do it now. Tulsa, same story. You are sitting at maybe 3 inches right now. Add another 8 to 14 inches tonight. Your snow begins around 10 p.m. and peak intensity is 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Now let me talk about Texas, because this is where things get really dangerous. Dallas-Fort Worth, I know you had some surprising snow this morning. A lot of you were not expecting that. But listen carefully. You are about to get hit with one of the worst ice storms in your city's history. Yes, you will get another 2 to 4 inches of snow and sleet starting around 8 p.m. tonight. But then comes the ice. The freezing rain begins around midnight and continues through tomorrow afternoon. We are forecasting 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice accumulation. Let me put that in perspective. Anything over 1/4 inch causes widespread power outages. Over 1/2 inch causes power grid failures. You could be without electricity for a week in temperatures below zero. Houston, you think you are safe because you are farther south. Wrong. Your cold air arrives late, but it arrives. Freezing rain begins around 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. Northern suburbs like Monroe and Livingston, you are looking at 3/10 to 4/10 inch of ice. That is dangerous territory. San Antonio and Austin, 1/4 inch of ice tonight into tomorrow. Kerrville, over 1/4 inch. The freezing rain starts around 11 p.m. tonight. Amarillo, you are getting buried. Another 4 to 8 inches of snow tonight. Starts at 7 p.m. Peaks at midnight. Ends around 9 a.m. tomorrow. Lubbock, same forecast. 6 to 10 inches additional. Heavy snow from 8 p.m. tonight through 10 a.m. tomorrow. Midland and Odessa, another 1 to 3 inches of snow and sleet, but watch out for that freezing rain. It could add up to 1/10 to 2/10 inch of ice. Now we move into Louisiana, and this is heartbreaking. Shreveport and Monroe, you are sitting in the bullseye of a catastrophic ice storm. Over 1/2 inch of additional freezing rain is forecast. Some areas could see 3/4 of an inch. This begins around 10 p.m. tonight and continues through tomorrow evening. This is a crippling, life-threatening ice storm. Lake Charles and Alexandria, 4/10 to 1/2 inch of freezing rain, starts midnight tonight. New Orleans, you stay mostly rain. But northern suburbs watch for some light freezing rain early tomorrow morning. Moving to Arkansas. Little Rock, you got some snow and sleet already. Now the ice storm arrives. 2/10 to 4/10 inch of freezing rain begins around 11 p.m. tonight and continues through tomorrow afternoon. Fort Smith and Fayetteville in northwest Arkansas, you are snow country. Another 6 to 10 inches tonight. Heavy snow begins at 8 p.m., peaks around 2 a.m., wraps up by noon tomorrow. Mississippi, you are in the danger zone. Jackson, the forecast has been upgraded. You could see 1/2 inch of freezing rain. This is catastrophic ice storm territory. It begins around midnight tonight and does not stop until tomorrow evening. Tupelo and Oxford, this is terrifying. 8/10 to 1 full inch of freezing rain. If this verifies, we are talking about a disaster. Trees will snap. Power lines will fall. Roads will be impassable for days. The freezing rain begins around 11 p.m. tonight. Corinth, 1 full inch of freezing rain forecast. This is a life-threatening situation. Memphis, Tennessee, you have already picked up several inches of sleet and snow. Now you are adding 1/4 inch of ice on top of that. Freezing rain begins around 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. Nashville, this is your second round, and it is the worst one. You got a couple inches of snow and sleet already. Now you are forecast to receive over 1/2 inch of freezing rain. Some models show 6/10 to 8/10 inch. This begins around 2 a.m. tomorrow and continues through tomorrow afternoon. Columbia, Tennessee, same forecast. Knoxville, you are in a tricky spot. The valley might see some warming and get rain, but the plateau and surrounding hills, 3/10 inch of freezing rain tonight starting around midnight. Here is the question everyone in the Southeast is asking. Will you get snow and sleet first, or will it start as freezing rain? This is critical. If it starts as sleet, you get some protection. The sleet creates a barrier, but if it starts as straight freezing rain, the ice builds up immediately and becomes catastrophic. Atlanta, Georgia, you have been waiting all day. Nothing has really started yet. But tonight at 11 p.m., it begins. You are forecast to receive 3/10 inch of freezing rain north of Atlanta and Gainesville, 8/10 inch. This is war zone ice storm totals. Athens, 1/2 inch of freezing rain. Macon and Columbus, you switch to plain rain as warmer air moves in. South Carolina, Columbia, I know you have been waiting. The storm arrives around midnight tonight. You might start with some sleet, which would be good news, but the forecast shows 1/4 inch of freezing rain. Lancaster, 4/10 inch. Newberry and Winnsboro, 3/10 to 4/10 inch. But the real disaster zone is upstate. Greenville and Spartanburg, you are looking at 1/2 to 3/4 inch of freezing rain. Some favored areas near the mountains could see over 1 full inch. This begins around 10 p.m. tonight and continues through tomorrow morning. Anderson and Clemson, same forecast, 1/2 inch minimum. Charleston and the coast, you stay mostly rain with just a few hundredths of ice possible. Charlotte, North Carolina, 1/2 inch of freezing rain forecast beginning around 11 p.m. tonight. Gastonia and Rock Hill, same totals. Asheville, you are tricky. The city itself might mix with rain at times. But south of Asheville toward Hendersonville, this is ice storm central, 1/2 to 3/4 inch of freezing rain. Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, you are getting hit hard. Winter storm warning is in effect. 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice begins around 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. But here is the twist. You might get a burst of heavy snow first. 2 to 4 inches of quick snow is possible before you change to freezing rain. Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Burlington, you are forecast to get 1 to 2 inches of snow starting around midnight, then switching to freezing rain. Total ice accumulation, 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Wilmington and the coast, just a few hundredths of ice. Not a major concern for you. Virginia, Richmond, this is fascinating. You are going to get slammed with 3 to 5 inches of very heavy snow starting around 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. This happens fast. Then you switch to sleet and freezing rain, total ice on top of the snow. 1/10 to 2/10 inch. Norfolk and Virginia Beach, similar forecast. Heavy snow first, then mixing. Roanoke and Blacksburg, you are staying mostly snow and sleet. 5 to 7 inches total. Heavy snow begins around midnight tonight, peaks at 4 a.m., tapers off by noon tomorrow. Lynchburg, 4 to 6 inches of snow, then possibly some freezing rain late tomorrow morning. 1/10 inch of ice possible. Northern Virginia and the D.C. metro area, this is your biggest snowstorm in a while. Washington, D.C., 4 to 9 inches of snow begins around 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. Very heavy snow from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. Then you mix with sleet, some freezing rain possible in southern suburbs. Fredericksburg, 4 to 8 inches. Baltimore, 4 to 9 inches of snow. Starts around 4 a.m. Heavy, from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. Then, mixing with sleet. Hagerstown and Cumberland, you stay all snow. 8 to 15 inches. Heavy snow begins at 2 a.m. Peaks at sunrise, wraps up by early afternoon. Delaware, Wilmington, 5 to 8 inches of snow, starting around 4 a.m. tomorrow. Then mixing with sleet and possibly some freezing rain. 1/10 inch of ice possible on top of the snow. Dover, 4 to 7 inches. Similar timeline. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 5 to 8 inches of snow begins around 4:30 a.m. tomorrow. Very heavy snow from 6 a.m. to noon. Then you start mixing with sleet. The snow comes down fast. Trenton, New Jersey, 6 to 9 inches. Same timeline as Philadelphia. Along the Jersey shore, you will mix more quickly. Atlantic City and Cape May, 3 to 6 inches before changing to sleet and possibly rain. But northern New Jersey, you are getting hammered. Newark, 8 to 11 inches of snow. Starts around 5 a.m. Peaks at 9 a.m. Continues through early afternoon with mixing. Patterson and Morristown, 9 to 13 inches of heavy snow. New York City, this is a major winter storm for you. 10 inches of snow forecast. Begins around 5:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. By rush hour, you will have 4 to 6 inches on the ground already. Peak snowfall is 8 a.m. to noon. Then some mixing with sleet is possible. Long Island, similar totals. 8 to 11 inches. Mixing likely in the afternoon. Southern Connecticut, Bridgeport, and New Haven, 10 to 14 inches. All snow. Begins at 5 a.m. Peaks at 9 a.m. Hartford, 12 to 16 inches of heavy snow. This is serious accumulation. Upstate New York, Syracuse, 14 to 18 inches. Albany, 13 to 17 inches. Buffalo, 10 to 13 inches with lake enhancement possible. The Catskill Mountains. Someone in this zone will see 2 feet of snow. This is a massive snowstorm. Massachusetts, Boston, this is your biggest snowstorm in 2 years. 12 to 16 inches of snow forecast. Begins around 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. By lunchtime, you will have 8 to 10 inches. Peak intensity is 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. South of Boston toward Cape Cod, you will mix with sleet, cutting your totals down. Worcester, 14 to 19 inches of snow. This is a true New England blizzard for you. Springfield, 12 to 16 inches. Rhode Island, Providence, 11 to 15 inches. Starts at 6:30 a.m. Vermont, Burlington, 10 to 15 inches of snow. Begins early tomorrow morning around 4 a.m. New Hampshire, Manchester, and Concord, 12 to 17 inches. All snow. Starts at 5 a.m. Maine, Portland, 8 to 12 inches. Northern Maine, lighter amounts, 3 to 6 inches. Now let me talk about the Midwest because you are getting buried tonight. St. Louis, Missouri, over 1/2 foot of additional snow tonight. You have already gotten some. But the heavy snow begins at 9 p.m. tonight and continues until 10 a.m. tomorrow. Total storm snowfall could reach 10 to 14 inches. Kansas City, another 2 to 4 inches tonight. Not as bad as areas to your east. Springfield, Missouri, 6 to 10 inches additional. Heavy snow 9 p.m. tonight through 9 a.m. tomorrow. Columbia, Missouri, 8 to 12 inches additional. Same timeline. Illinois, Chicago. This is interesting. You get some lake enhancement. 2 to 7 inches of snow. Begins around 11 p.m. Tonight, Peoria, 2 to 4 inches. But southern Illinois gets destroyed. Mount Vernon, 9 to 12 inches of additional snow. Carbondale, 8 to 11 inches. Heavy snow begins at 8 p.m. tonight. Springfield, Illinois, 7 to 11 inches additional. Indiana, Indianapolis, this is huge for you. 8 to 12 inches of snow tonight into tomorrow. The storm has barely started in your area. Heavy snow begins at 10 p.m. tonight. Peaks at 3 a.m. tomorrow. Continues through noon. Fort Wayne, 7 to 10 inches. Same timeline. Evansville, 6 to 9 inches, but watch for some mixing with sleet. Bloomington and Greensburg, 10 to 13 inches. This is a crippling snowstorm. Ohio, this is an all-snow event for most of you. Columbus, 8 to 12 inches tonight into tomorrow. Heavy snow begins at 11 p.m. tonight. Cleveland, 8 to 12 inches, starts around midnight. Cincinnati, 8 to 12 inches, but southern suburbs might see some sleet or freezing rain mixing in. 1/10 inch of ice possible. Toledo, 7 to 11 inches. Midnight start time. Dayton, 8 to 11 inches. Heavy snow begins at 11:30 p.m. Kentucky, this is where it gets messy. Louisville, you are in a mixed bag zone. 6 to 10 inches of snow, but then mixing with sleet and freezing rain. Total ice accumulation could reach 2/10 to 3/10 inch. Lexington, 7 to 12 inches of snow and sleet, then 1/4 inch of freezing rain on top. This creates a dangerous ice layer over the snow. Bowling Green and Elizabethtown, similar forecast. Snow first, then ice. Eastern Kentucky toward Pikeville and Harlan, this is ice storm territory. 1/4 to 1/2 inch of freezing rain after several inches of snow and sleet. West Virginia, northern areas stay all snow. Morgantown, 8 to 13 inches. Heavy snow begins at midnight. Charleston, this is tricky. You might get several inches of snow first, then switching to freezing rain as low pressure floods warm air in. 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice possible. Beckley, few inches of snow and sleet first, then 1/2 inch of freezing rain. This is a dangerous setup. Now let me tell you about the cold. This is not just a snow and ice storm. This comes with brutal, life-threatening cold. Tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, temperatures will be in the single digits and teens while precipitation is still falling. That is dangerously cold. Monday morning, below 0 for many areas. Memphis drops to 3 degrees. Northern Louisiana and northern Mississippi, single digits. Parts of the Midwest, 10 to 20 below 0. This cold air stays locked in place all week. Tuesday morning, still below 0 in many locations. Wednesday, you finally start to moderate, but you are still looking at temperatures 15 to 25 degrees below normal. What does this mean? It means any ice that accumulates will not melt for a week. Power outages will last longer because repair crews cannot work as efficiently in extreme cold. Pipes will freeze. Road conditions will remain hazardous for days. Here is what you need to do right now. Charge all devices. Fill your bathtub with water. If you lose power, you lose your well pump if you have one. Bring pets inside. Check on elderly neighbors. Get flashlights and batteries ready. Make sure you have food that does not require cooking if your power goes out. If you live in an ice storm warning area, assume you will lose power. It is not a question of if, but when. 1/4 inch of ice takes down tree branches. 1/2 inch takes down power lines. 3/4 of an inch causes structural damage to trees and widespread grid failure. Stay off the roads tomorrow. I cannot stress this enough. Emergency vehicles need clear roads. Every car that gets stuck or slides off the road takes resources away from real emergencies. Now, before we end, I promised you something big. There is another storm signal developing for next weekend. I am watching this very closely. Friday, January 30th into Sunday, February 1st, there are multiple model runs showing another significant winter storm for the deep south and southeast. The GFS model shows snow developing along the Gulf Coast on Sunday, February 1st, Then pushing into South Carolina and North Carolina. The Canadian model shows a major snowstorm from southeast Georgia through South Carolina and into eastern North Carolina on Sunday. The AI models are picking up on this too, showing a huge area of moisture just off the southeast coast with plenty of cold air. The European ensemble mean, which I trust more than any other long-range model, is showing a 1 to 3 inch snowfall mean for Columbia, Charlotte, and Raleigh. That means many ensemble members are hitting those cities with snow. This could be a major winter storm for areas that are about to get crushed by ice tonight. You might get your pretty snowstorm next weekend after this ice disaster. I will have full details on that storm in my next video tomorrow morning. After tonight's storm moves through, we will dive deep into the next system. Comment below right now. Tell me where you are located. Tell me what you are seeing. Are you getting snow? Sleet? Freezing rain? Nothing yet? I will reply to as many of you as possible with updated information. And please, stay safe tonight. This is a dangerous, life-threatening winter storm for millions of Americans. Take it seriously. Prepare now. And check back tomorrow morning for the full update on current conditions and that next storm system brewing for next weekend. The worst of this storm hits between midnight tonight and noon tomorrow for most of the country. The second wave is here. Stay inside, stay warm, and stay safe.